Space, the final frontier. These are the voyages of the starship Enterprise. Its 5-year mission, to explore strange new worlds, to seek out new life and new civilizations, to boldly go where no man has gone before.
Hello, friend.
Hello, and welcome to a little bOrgCast special. The reason for this is twofold. One, because it's going to be a bit longer before we record the next bOrgCast, because it's the Sunday rather than the Friday of next week. So it's Sunday the 2nd of December is when we'll be recording our review of What We Leave Behind, the end of Deep Space Nine. The other reason is, rather annoyingly, the day after we recorded the last bOrgCast, issue 2 of Star Trek vs. Transformers finally came through the letterbox. So we thought we'd just give a little mini review. So what did you think?
Yeah. There was quite a lot of shoehorning.
Yes, there's a couple of pages of attempts to ensure that somehow the continuity works for... Well, let's face it, it's a bit of a mishmash of continuities. Yes, apparently the Transformers did indeed exist in the Star Trek universe, but somehow or other everybody forgot about them, and they left around the time of the Third World War. And there's sort of pictures of those warriors we get in Encounter at Farpoint with the weird drug things that they're inhaling. And then a bit with...
They're from Cochrane, isn't it?
Yes, yeah, and sort of a first contact scene, basically, with them disappearing off. It's like, yeah, that really doesn't work. The Federation has records of Earth's history. If the Transformers had been around, there would have been a record of that as well.
Well, not only that, but the Zev from Cochrane is clearly the next-gen first contact.
Yes, well...
Right? So the Enterprise, the proper Enterprise, the D, with all its tech, who can detect other warp ships, would have been there and would therefore have picked up the Transformers ship leaving what you see in the shot.
Well, I think the inference is that they leave just before the Enterprise E, remember, arrives for its time jump. So, yes, that's not so much of a problem. But, yeah, I mean, on the basis that first contact is, by definition, supposed to be about humans' first contact with alien life, so
yeah,
Transformers, happening in the 1980s doesn't really work, I'm afraid.
No.
But anyway, ignoring those 2 pages, which I think is probably for the best, or the artwork's quite fun. Throughout, I really enjoyed it. There's some wonderful panels. Mress, or whatever she's called, a cat crew member, flinging herself, attacking Bumblebee is quite funny. Quite what she's expecting to do against a huge robot, I do not know.
No, I don't either.
And then there's a wonderful scene with Megatron and Soundwave standing on a Klingon battle cruiser, because they've joined forces with the Klingons at this point, which is quite fun as well. So, obviously not to be taken seriously, it's daft. But I quite enjoyed it, actually, and the art's quite fun, so...
I did quite like the scene with the Klingon turning around to Megatron and going, "Let me teach you about cloaking."
Yes.
You're thinking Transformers that can cloak. Shit.
Ooh, nasty. Yes.
So, it's fun, but I honestly think I would have found it more fun if they hadn't tried to shoehorn it in, actually. I think if they just left it as it was...
Yeah, just forget those 2 pages. The rest of it's quite much more fun.
Yeah.
Okay, well, that's what we think. But what does the expert on all things Transformers, the Llama God, think?
Llama God's Lark, incidental. Don't really have an awful lot to say about this one, to be honest. We're carrying on from the previous issue, which basically was the setup between having the Klingons and Decepticons versus the Autobots and the Federation. We went headlong into about fisticuffs last time, and basically there's a bit of an aftermath this time, where the Enterprise crew finally learn the truth about the Autobots, and the Decepticons start scheming with the Klingons, in a prelude to what's going to be usual crossover-style shenanigans and fight-up. And there's not really a lot to say about this. The arc continues to be the high point, really. It does a very good job of depicting the 1980s Transformers and the animated Star Trek series, and stylistically it goes well together. The biggest thing for me, and it's a massive disappointment, is that this issue provides a tiny glimpse of backstory, which explains how the Autobots and Decepticons have ended up in the Star Trek timeline, or how they've ended up crossing paths with Kirk and co. And that's actually a hell of a lot more interesting story than what we're actually getting here. If they were going to expand on that bit of backstory, I mean, that would be great. I'm not going to spoil what it is for anyone, but it's disappointing that it's just kind of glossed over in a couple of pages. Instead, we're left with a bit of recap of the Transformers, who they are, and then set up for next issue's choose battle, I guess. So, yeah, an interesting premise, but I think, as I said last time, there's not a lot to really commend it. It's just your typical usual crossover event where you set the scene, set the pieces up, and let them hit each other over the head with unconvincing polystyrene boulders for a bit. And other than that, I don't have a lot to say. Again, be interested when I catch up with your podcast to find out what other people are actually making of these. So, yeah, that's it for now. All right, let's get back to our regularly scheduled programming.
Ah, so he was the inverse of us.
Opposite.
He wanted all the backstory. Did you not find it improbable? Oh my God, I'm a bit fascinated to hear. But anyway, I guess we won't find out for a while because he's still catching up with our podcasts. So
yes.
There we are. Yeah, I'm silly, but definitely the highlight is definitely the art.
Yeah.
It's great fun. Okay, folks, so yes, next time we record is the 2nd of December, so we'll catch you after that. Cheery bye.
Bye.
All music referenced is for illustrative purposes only, and no copyright infringement is intended.
Find our website at bOrgCast.libsyn.com.
And we have a YouTube channel as well.
You can find the bOrgCast playouts on Spotify for your listening pleasure.
Visit our Tumblr site at bOrgCast.tumblr.com.
Send emails or MP3s to bOrgCast@gmail.com.
Or you can contact us via Twitter on rev_org or bOrgCastAmmo. #bOrgCast.
Shut it down!